Today, we're diving deep into a massive shift happening inside the U.S. Department of Defense. It's a story about software, it's about national security, and really, it's about a race to modernize before it's too late.
And look, the stakes here couldn't be higher. A few years back, the Defense Innovation Board put it in really stark terms. The very process that was supposed to build tools to protect the nation had actually become a major risk itself.
So that begs a huge question, right? How in the world do you overhaul the way the world's largest bureaucracy builds software, especially when the consequences of getting it wrong are just unimaginable?
For years, that question was a massive knowledge gap. But now, a really important study has finally given us an evidence-based blueprint. And they did it by going straight to the source, the project managers who are actually in the trenches making this stuff work. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the 5 core strategies they uncovered, from coding practices all the way to a complete culture shift.
Okay, first, let's just set the stage. The situation here is all about incredibly high-stakes software. I mean, we are talking about the code that runs everything. Fighter jets, missile defense systems, the giant logistical network that moves people and gear all over the globe. This is not your average corporate IT department. This is the digital backbone of U.S. national defense.
And here's the complication. The blueprint the DoD was using to build all this critical software was dangerously, and I mean dangerously, out of date.
So on this slide, you can really see the 2 different worlds we're talking about. On one side, you've got the old way, waterfall. You spend years planning every single detail, then you build it, then you deliver it. It's super rigid, and it is painfully slow. But the modern world, the world of tech, runs on Agile. You build in small, quick cycles, you get feedback constantly, and you adapt on the fly. It is fast, it's flexible, and it's built for a world that never stops changing.
And the fallout from using that old waterfall model? It was bad, really bad. Warfighters were waiting, sometimes for more than a decade, to get their hands on critical tools. And by the time the software finally showed up, the threat it was designed to fight had already changed. It was a system that just could not keep up.
All of this brings us to the central question behind this whole thing, a question that really grew out of a huge critical gap in knowledge.
You see, the DoD knew it had a problem. They weren't blind to it. They even set up these really cool, innovative groups called software factories to try and work like tech startups. But while they knew what they wanted to be agile, they wanted DevSecOps, which is just building security in from the start. They didn't have a clear playbook on how to actually pull it off inside the unique world of the Department of Defense.
This was the billion-dollar question. Forget the buzzwords. What were the real, practical, day-to-day strategies that successful managers were using to make it happen? How were they bridging that gap between a Silicon Valley mindset and a massive government bureaucracy? That was the knowledge gap this research was designed to fill.
So, let's get to the good part. The research went out and found the answer. And it came back with 5 key strategies that, together, create a whole new blueprint for success.
This table kind of gives us the 30,000-foot view of those 5 strategies. And as you can see, it's not just one thing. It's not one magic bullet. It's a mix of using the right methods, being obsessed with security, building the right team culture, creating constant feedback loops, and of course, knowing how to handle the unique challenges of this environment.
So let's dig into the first one, which is maybe the most foundational, the actual methodologies and approaches these teams are using. What the study found is that it's about a deep commitment to some very specific practices. First, a huge mindset shift from thinking about a project that has an end date to a product that lives on and gets better forever. Then they're using things from what's called extreme programming, like having 2 engineers work together on one computer for instant code reviews. And this is huge. They work in rapid, 1-week cycles, so they're constantly getting user feedback to make sure they're building the right thing.
And look, these modern methods aren't just a philosophy. They are powered by a totally modern tech stack. You have to have the right tools in the toolbox. We're talking Git for collaboration, Docker containers that let software run anywhere, and Kubernetes to manage it all. These are the engines that make all this speed and flexibility even possible.
All right, the second key strategy is an absolute non-negotiable in the DoD. It's all about baking quality and security into the process from the very first minute.
This quote from one of the managers they interviewed just nails the new mindset perfectly. Security isn't some final exam that happens months down the road. It's automated and it's instant. A developer checks in some code, and if a tool spots a potential vulnerability, that developer gets a Slack message about it literally moments later. It's a real-time feedback loop for security.
So the big idea here is something called shifting security left.
All that really means is you stop treating security as the last hurdle to clear. Instead, security is a partner from day one. You use automated tools that are constantly scanning code, and you even create pre-approved starter apps that have security built right in, so teams can get running fast without ever cutting corners on safety.
Now, while the methods and security are absolutely crucial, the research found 3 other essential strategies. Number 3 is all about deliberately building trust and great team dynamics, recognizing that culture is just as important as code. Number 4 is about creating a culture where feedback is constant and constructive, so everyone can learn and adapt super quickly. And finally, number 5 is about knowing how to navigate the unique bureaucratic hurdles that you'll only find inside the DoD.
Okay, so we've seen this new blueprint, but we have to ask the big so what question. Why does this research actually matter?
Well, because for the very first time, it fills that massive knowledge gap we talked about at the beginning. This isn't just theory anymore. It's not a collection of buzzwords. This is a documented, evidence-based roadmap of the real-world strategies that are actually working right now to modernize software in one of the most complex organizations on the planet.
And the power of this blueprint comes from where it was sourced. It wasn't dreamed up in some boardroom. It was distilled from really deep interviews with 12 project managers who are on the front lines, the actual people whose job it is to turn this vision of an agile DoD into a reality.
This research suggests that, with the right blueprint, the answer just might be yes. And that leaves us with one final fascinating question to think about. As these strategies start to spread, can the world's largest bureaucracy really learn to operate with the speed and agility of a tech startup? You know, the future of national security might just depend on it.